podcast. I am your host, per usual, Sean Tyson, here with Zoo and P. Bush. How are you guys doing?
Doing well, man. You know what I'm praying for, Zoo, this week, man? I know you don't watch hockey, but the Blackhawks won the lottery and got the first overall pick and have a franchise-changing player coming their way, one that doesn't come every 10 years. Let's hope and pray that the Bulls follow suit, man. Back-to-back Chicago lottery wins. That's what I'm hoping for, man.
It's back to back, man. We need three. We need all three number one picks in Chicago at once, man. All three number one picks.
Yeah, and they say sports isn't rigged. Come on, Chicago needs a little help here. Come on,
Adam Silver, man. Do us a favor, man, and do this middle finger to Mark Cuban, man. It's a win-win proposition. We made the play, man. We tried. Reward us for trying, man. That's all I gotta say. Adam Silver,
Mark Cuban. That was a disgrace of how he treated it in the regular season. So I'm gonna need the basketball guys to do what they do, and we'll see how the lottery shakes out. That will be happening tomorrow. So I know a lot of teams are going to be hopeful, but right now the playoffs are going on, and the last couple of games with the semis, and there's a little bit of intrigue with the game sixes that happened on Friday, but. Shout out to the Knicks. I will give them some credit. I think they're the one team that didn't get blown out in their elimination game, so I will give them a lot of credit for that. Shout out to Thibodeau for keeping this team fighting, even though I feel like Julius Randle was selling and, I don't know, playing his way out of New York, probably. But, I just wanted to get the guys' thoughts on the couple of game sixes, the game 7 on Sunday, and a future in the conference finals. And P. Bush, I'm going to start with you.
I'll start in the Eastern Conference, man. I mean, you mentioned it, the Knicks. I got to shout out Jalen Brunson, man. He played his heart out. Games 5 and 6. I think he had 38 and then maybe 40, 41, 42 in that elimination game. Pretty much playing every single minute. Zoo, that's a old Thibodeau, Luol Deng routine, man. Man, we need you to play every minute if we want to stay in this game. And obviously, can't compare him to Luol Deng. Jalen Brunson is actually able to score the ball and keep the team in the game when your supposed cornerstone guy decides to do what he always does, man. Julius Randle. I'm tired of saying his name. I saw all the fans outside stomping on his picture after the game outside.
Tore his poster down, man.
Tore his poster down. Yeah. Only one that they tore down across all the other teammates right there. But yeah, man. I mean, RJ Barrett, I will say, I thought he actually stepped up relatively well in this playoffs.
Till that last guy.
So that, yeah, of course. But, it's baby steps. I'm not saying this team was going to be a finals contender, this year. But I think they are trending in the right direction. I think they just got to move Julius Randle and maybe bring another big piece in. I think that's going to be what's on their plate for the offseason. But, man, oh, man, the Miami Heat, man, always find a way.
The ultimate dark horse, man. The ultimate dark horse every year, man. They just do it.
Every year. And now, and then we got the Celtics coming in after that clutch Game 7 performance. About damn time from Jason Tatum, man. He had 5 good quarters that entire series, and they ended up being the 5 that they needed the most. That clutch Game 6 performance in the fourth quarter, hitting those 4 threes. That's what we expect him to do, and I know we gave him a lot of flack last week for taking too many threes.
Oh, he was great.
He was great.
He's hitting. Those step backs, man. Yeah, one-on-one. That's pure one-on-one game.
But it's exactly what we give him crap for, too, when he doesn't play well. So I think it's just his game.
Yeah, he lives and dies by threes.
As a team. Yep. So, Jaylen Brown, did his things. I know he clutched up that nice little 20-point boost.
That FanDuel boost, baby. 20+.
Yeah. So, Celtics, I think, deservedly so. The Sixers just imploded there at the end. James Harden having what we were expecting to see James Harden doing in this playoffs and kind of coming up short. Maxey couldn't do enough. Tobias Harris, same thing. And as our buddy Eric said, man, Horford was Embiid's daddy in this series, man, and especially in Game 7.
Oh, my goodness.
I don't know if it's the old man strength, but he kept Embiid in check and pretty much forced him out of the game, which I wouldn't have expected that, even though he has played Embiid well in the past. So shout out to the Eastern Conference. We got a solid series coming up, man.
Yeah,
rematch.
For sure, man. Like, Brunson, man, what he's doing this year, showing you last year was not a fluke. His coming out party last year, it was when I'm like, okay, Jalen Brunson looks like an all-star caliber starter, man. Because I remember him and Luka Doncic were running that Harden CP3 ISO offense, and they were pretty effective, and they were able to beat a really good Suns team last year. And now, with Jalen Brunson as being the number one option against a Miami Heat team that has a good defense, he averaged 31 points a game against this team, man. 31 a game, 6 assists, 5 rebounds, man. This dude legitimately was dominating the pace of the game. leader. Like Thibodeau just raves about his leadership ability. He's got the intangibles, man. And the problem is he's just got a bunch of bums on his team, man. I'm sorry, man. Like when the Knicks shocked me by beating the Cavaliers, man, I'm like, there's no way they shock me again, man. Because this team's just not that talented. Like the RJ Bears of the world. And you know my thoughts about Julius Randle disappears in the playoffs. He pulls the act again. Like it's like the most predictable thing ever with Julius Randle. So Julius Randle disappearing act, Brunson balling out. That was pretty predictable of what I imagined on the Knicks because I feel like RJ Barrett is still a very inconsistent scorer on the offensive end. Quentin Grimes is a nice little player, man. Like the team is just not that. Mitchell Robinson plays his role very one-dimensional on offense. Mm-hmm. So you look at the roster offensively, they just struggle to score the basketball. And it's just a typical Thibodeau offense that dominates the ball by like two guys, and Randle and Jalen Brunson hope they take you home. And Brunson almost did, dropping a 40-piece, back-to-back 30 games. So, like, Jalen Brunson in the playoffs, proving that this dude's an all-star, man. I remember when he was snubbed as an all-star guy, I'm like, yeah, this dude's an all-star. He's better than Julius Randle, even based on, I would say, counting stats. Randle averaging more points and rebounds, but Jalen Brunson's impact on the basketball court is just way more. Like anybody can see that, his leadership and his ability at the point guard position. But Jimmy Jordan does it again, man. Like even though off a bum ankle, we got to keep that in mind. This is off a bum ankle. He was still able to lead this team of undrafted and BAMs to the conference finals again. And if you guys remember last year in the press conference, he said he'll be back.
And he is.
And he's back. And he's without Tyler Hero, who was averaging 20 points a game on a team that struggles offensively. So we still got to keep that in mind. I don't know. Like they said, his injury is like 4 to 6 weeks. I don't know. It's like creeping up that he might be able to make an appearance back. I was like, dang.
Maybe a game 3 or something.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. So maybe Tyler Hero makes an appearance. They need bodies out there. They need guys to shoot the ball. If they double team Jimmy, like Kyle Lowry's did a great job of shooting the basketball. So what Jimmy has done is absolutely impressive. If he leads this team to the finals, this will be an all-time carry. It's 1 star. Like I know Bam, all-star count. No.
Little LeBron 07.
It is. It's very similar. Like Bam on defense is a very like all-star caliber, but on offense, he's still a very limited offensive player. Like you don't game plan for Bam Adebayo on offense. He's a really
nice
good defensive
dunks,
player.
Though, man. He had some nice dunks.
Yeah, he's an elite athlete, man. Like he plays his role and he plays off of Jimmy, but he's just not a true second option. So Jimmy Jordan's been carrying, man. So shout out to Jimmy Butler. I love seeing this boy flourish, man. Because oh man, you know what team needs him? The Philadelphia 76ers. Man. I feel ashamed of predicting the Sixers gonna make it to the finals, man. Because like these things are not surprising. First of all, James Harden disappearing in Game 7s. The historical precedence is just there. Like last year, Harden disappearing, not taking any shots. Like that's just so predictable. Even after the 40 and 40-point games, this dude and the game winners and clutch performances, Harden was terrible, man. The dude would drive in the lane and he would have open layups. And he would just drive with the purpose of passing.
To PJ Tucker.
Dude, it is, man. Like I'm like
he actually showed up.
Oh, he showed up in the first half. He had double-digit points, man. PJ Tucker over and under is like less than like 8 points. So he showed up. He outplayed his projections. But James Harden had to be aggressive. Like you saw the playbook. When the Sixers win, James Harden drops like 30 points a game. And he needed to be aggressive and score the basketball. So James Harden, number 1. Absolute doo-doo. You ain't getting a max contract. Even your boy Daryl Morey cannot give you a max contract, even though he loves you. So James Harden, doo-doo. And the MVP of the league, man, Joel Embiid.
Dude.
He averaged 33 points in the regular season. In the playoffs, he dropped over 9 points, down to 23 points. That is the largest drop-off for an MVP in the history of basketball.
Not my MVP.
Yeah, not my MVP. I was on Jokic.
Oh, we know.
I know. Oh, yeah, Jokic's my MVP.
Oh, we know.
But Embiid was the sympathy MVP, even though he was worthy based on his – I would say his basic stats, like his counting stats are really good, 33, 10, and 4, and getting 2 blocks a game. But what Embiid is, like, I know you got people hate on Jokic for his defense, but Embiid in Game 7 was getting exposed on defense and high pick and roll. They were running high pick and rolls, and Embiid on the perimeter is just not that great. He's not like a Bam Adebayo who could move his feet. Like Embiid's a great shot blocker, rim protector, traditional center. But when he's on the perimeter, he got exposed by Tatum, by Brown, by all the guards Like Missoula attacked him.
They finally made that adjustment. I think that was the thing.
Yeah,
Missoula made an adjustment.
Exactly. So, like, they were attacking Embiid high pick and roll, which is extremely sorry. You get any 7-footer out of the paint, man. You get the shot blockers out of the paint. So, pretty much the Rudy Gobert technique, man. So, that's what they did to him. And he was pathetic on defense. And on offense, he was awful. Like, I could hate on Harden because I could expect Harden of disappearing. Okay, that happens. I've seen it before. The thing is, Harden won them 2 games.
Yeah.
They won a game without the MVP.
He did his job.
Embiid was on the bench when they won a game. So Embiid had to win only 3 games. And he couldn't get it done. He only had to win 3 games. Harden won them that 1 game. He was sitting on the bench with me and watching the game. So he only had to win 3 games, and he couldn't even get it done. And the reason they lost, if he dropped 50 and 20 and they lost, okay, it happens. Your teammates didn't show up. You balled out. But you dropped less than 20 points, and you bring up the press conference like, yeah, me and Harden, like we need others to show up too. I'm like, get better. No. The reason you guys lost was because of you guys. It was not your teammates. Tobias Harris shot over 50% from the field. He played his role. Tyrese Maxey was hitting his threes. The role player, PJ Tucker, played his role. The role players was not the reason they lost. Sometimes it is, but this was not the case. The role players played their role.
You want to know when they lost? Was Game 6.
Yeah.
There was nobody. I don't know anybody, unless you was a Philly fan or a Philly celebrity. Shout out to Kevin Hart, who thought the Sixers were going to win that Game 7. You had your chance in Game 6. You controlled that game. You lost it. You let Tatum beat you in basically the fourth quarter, and that was the story. Yeah. Like, I mean, that was the easiest bet. I don't know what the line was in that Game 7, but, like, even when I saw Philadelphia was kind of keeping it close at halftime, I was like, dude, they're going to get blown out in the third quarter because it's just what they're going to do. It's a Doc-led team. Embiid's playing like crap.
I haven't even mentioned Doc, man. That's the third head of the monster that deserves all the blame. Embiid, James Harden, and Doc Rivers, man. 3-1, 3-2. You're fine. It's Doc Rivers, man. Can't close the deal, man. Sometimes you just can't close the deal, and it's okay, man. Doc Rivers, man. You're a good regular season coach, man. You win a lot of games. I give you that.
Shout out to the Boston title, but
yeah. No. Shout outs to Tom Thibodeau's defense, and shout out to Rajon Rondo being a point head coach on the court, because that's what NKG, like those guys. I don't know, man. You guys see some former Boston players, aka Big Baby Davis, talk bad about Doc Rivers, man. Like JJ Redick talking bad about Doc Rivers. Like you see a lot of former players, like a lot of former players saying like bad stuff, like Doc Rivers always blamed the fact that, man, look at yourself in the mirror, man. You're up 3-2. I don't want to hear I didn't have enough. Your team was enough, man. Your team, you had as much talent as Boston. And the only reason Boston was favored was because of your historical tendency to blow games. From Embiid not showing up at the playoffs to Harden being unclutched in big-time moments and Doc Rivers blowing leads, man. It was just a trifecta of circumstances that I should have saw coming. Like, I was foolish to pick the Philadelphia 76ers. Won't make that mistake again, man. I was just like, man, maybe it's their year, man. Embiid winning MVP, that did happen. But the brother didn't show up at the playoffs, man. Like, he just didn't show up. Even in the Brooklyn Nets series, he did not play well in Brooklyn. And that was a terrible team. So when I saw that, I was a little like, okay, like, this is the Brooklyn Nets. This is a low pressure, really bad team. So then when you play against the Boston Celtics, yeah, Embiid needed average 30 and 10.
In that game 6, like, you got 26 from Tyrese, you got 26 from Embiid. They have to close that game out. Like, the game was a competitive game until that fourth quarter where Jason went off. Even with
Tatum
Jason
hit
going
those
off, the game was still like, it was still kind of teetering where Philadelphia was in the game. But if you have a situation where Tatum shot as bad as he did in that game 6, like, he pretty much gave them the game.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, it was really only Brown and a couple other guys until Tatum came alive in the fourth. That is where you lost the series. Like, I know we can get on him about Game 7, but I mean, they didn't play well, but I didn't figure they were going to play well. And I know it's a Doc-led team, but they should have won the game in Game 6. If you don't screw around and win that game, you basically shift. Because, like you said, James Harden gave you 2 great games.
Yeah.
So, like, if you take advantage of that,
he did his job.
and finish the job, like, you know, Joel and them, and like I said, I'm not going to kill Harden because, I mean, he did what he can do. He's not a max guy. We know that.
And he's not getting paid a max.
Yeah.
He's not getting.
No, he's not.
I'm not expecting him to be a superstar. He's a complimentary star, and he dropped 2 superstar games. So
wrong with that,
he did his part.
Yeah.
And
Joel was supposed to come in and Yeah, Joel was supposed to take like I said, he gave us 26. Maybe we needed 35 from me that game to just get that game home because we could be talking about the 76ers in the Heat.
He didn't touch the ball in the fourth quarter.
Maybe that's a better. Talking about in the game 7 or in the game 6?
Game 6. Like the number of touches he got was just they couldn't get him the ball. I'm like, how do you not get the ball to the MVP? Like I don't even know how that happens. How does that happen? Doc Rivers call a play, call a timeout. You got 7'2" guy, 280 down low against old man Al Horford, man. Come on now.
That's to your point about bigs, that's why sometimes they're just not as effective because if your coach is not making plays and getting situations to where you're getting the 80% of the workload, then you have a situation like in Game 6, and there's no excuses for Embiid and Harden. Like you said, the whole post game is all this stuff the guys be saying after post game. I feel like they just be trying to get a quote and get something on Bleacher Report so they could be memorable after their loss. But we beat a dead horse on that series. I mean, shout out to the Celtics. I mean, I'm still not I put it this way. I don't think they close games well because this series should have been over at 5 if we're looking at it on the hoof. Like, nobody really saw the Harden games coming. But, I mean, Boston just – I don't know. Maybe they just get bored. I don't really know how to explain how they do because they should not have been in a 7-game series with this Philadelphia team. Like,
they get complacent.
That doesn't look good. So, and I think with this, we'll talk about Miami and all that stuff when that comes, but you're not going to be able to do that with Miami. You got to punch them in the face because they're not going to be scared and they're not going to fall.
Yeah, you got a guy in Jimmy Butler.
The 76ers are. Yeah, he's not.
You got a guy in Jimmy Butler.
And Spoelstra ain't Doc Rivers.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. They're different levels of coaching.
Tried true, for sure. But going over to the West Coast, I will give the Suns this. Devin Booker's a boss. Like, we know he can ball. Kevin Durant can ball too. Gonna be interested to see what happens with Chris Paul. That's all I'm gonna be thinking about with the Suns. Like, I will give them that they got the 2 foundational pieces, but I will be interested to see what they do.
Scrap the rest
with Chris Paul because I think I would have.
He had a good game.
He actually had a great game. But
that's the
elimination game. They didn't care.
Campaign is your leading scorer with Devin Booker and Kevin Durant. You got 9-1-1. We got
Book only had like 12, maybe 15, 14.
D-Book and KD. You know what happened? They just ran out of gas. They ran out of gas.
Yeah.
That's legit.
You can't
what happened.
average. They had to basically average 70 like
more, close to 80.
Yeah, to even have a chance
to win.
So, and I think that Chris Paul was reading, or I might have read this or heard it, where Chris Paul, I think that guarantee goes into effect. Like, the full guarantee goes into effect in June. So they got to make it.
It's like late June.
Quick.
They have to make a decision.
Like, they got to understand.
Trade him or
I don't know.
just
look at a scenario where, and it's like, where would you even put Chris Paul? But yeah, I mean, from what I saw in that series, and it's kind of similar with Denver and LA. Like, Denver, when I knew they were going home, I don't even think I was thinking to myself like, oh well, it's gonna be a 7-game series. I just thought after, even though Denver's been perfect at home, I was thinking like they're gonna destroy Phoenix. Yeah. Phoenix. Yeah. It just had the vibes of what it was last year. It's just
it's deja vu.
Yeah,
they were up 30 and a half, and the game was pretty much over. Cost Monty Williams his job. DeAndre Ayton barely played again. It's like deja vu again, and Ayton probably gonna get traded this offseason. Him and obviously Monty's relationship.
That's another one. Who the heck wants DeAndre Ayton? Who wants him?
No, I'm good.
I don't know what you're going to get back from him.
Teams will call. Teams will call.
Yeah, they're going to call for him, but
yeah, because I feel like if you give a nice young player and a pick, you probably take the risk on DeAndre Ayton. But Jokic, man, made DeAndre Ayton look like a little bitch, man. He made him look like. And if you look at DeAndre,
that's being nice.
Yeah, legit. Like, you know how in jail
destroyed.
You got someone that has a bitch grabbing your pocket, man. That's what Jokic did to DA, man. He grabbing his pocket, walking around with him, man. That's what happened, man. Like, straight up, like, he made.
Is Bismack Biyombo still on that team? Like, I would at least throw Bismack out there just to at least be.
I don't know. It was the Jack Landon. When it was the Jack Landon show, man, it was over, man. You got Jack Landon on the 2-time MVP, and all the 2-time MVP does is drop a 30-point triple dub, man. Because that's what that brother does, man. He closes games out, man. Legit, that game wasn't even competitive. Everybody showed up. Porter Jr. was hitting some crazy threes, man. Jamal Murray is the beautiful Robin. Like, I just love this team on paper.
Brown a lot.
Oh, he's a really nice cutter. He's a really nice cutter.
6'5", basically center, like power forward, whatever he is. Like he's
like a 6'5", like rim runner, like forward. Plays like a big, but he's like
PJ Tucker, but like I feel like he could do a little bit more than PJ.
Yeah,
PJ's just a corner guy and just roughing it up in the middle.
Yeah, he's a little more mobile, but Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, that guy shot the lights out in the first half. Like he dropped, as I remember, he dropped over 20 points in the first half. Like he outscored D-Book and KD combined. So when that was happening, I'm like,
finally got help too.
Oh yeah,
that's crazy.
This is what happens when Yoke got help, man. Oh, he got the shooters going, man. His entire team is healthy. I'm so happy for this guy to have this opportunity right now to progress to the conference finals again. And I'm just hoping the next year's, man, everybody healthy, man. Prayers to that. But man, I'm so ready for Jokic to get an opportunity to make it to the NBA finals because this dude had a historical playoff series against the Suns. Like you're playing against a team that's Kevin Durant, who might finish down, I don't know, arguably top 15 all-time player, and D-Book, probably one of the all-time shooting guards. So he did this against an elite talent. Obviously, CP3 got injured, but that dude gets injured every year, so it ain't even an outlier no more. So,
I don't think that would have changed.
It would have impact because even when CP3
I don't think they would have won.
Yeah,
they played better without him.
Yeah, they played a little faster.
And you see, they play faster too. That's the thing they're going to look for, like a point guard that's just going to be able to get up and down. Because Chris, as much as he's a great half court and his 3-point shot is okay, like he's just not an up and down guy. He's not an up and down guy anymore, and that's not his fault. He's just older. But they're going to have to figure out something quick because I'm pretty sure they're going to make a big swing. I just don't know who it's going to be, but they're going to have to figure out something because that situation, even though we knew they weren't going to win that series, you can't get beat. You just can't get beat down like that.
That game was embarrassing.
I kind of like Wiggins there. Nasty. I kind of like Wiggins with the Suns. They need a defensive wing, like a
need a
true
three. But every team plays a 3-and-D wing.
Yeah, of course. But Wiggins is probably like for the right price, not an overpriced guy.
Golden State loves Wiggins though, man. He's like part of the.
I don't think Golden State's. I don't think
they do. You know what they're gonna do? Yo, Jordan Poole, baby. Jordan Poole.
I would hate that.
Get out of here.
Jordan Poole would start taking. Devin Book would request a trade if Jordan Poole got a call from the Suns.
Yo, I can request a trade. I can just imagine Bob Myers on the phone like, "Yo, JP, man, what's gonna take to get him, man?"
Nah, I think. But going to speaking of the Warriors and Lakers, like, I do think the size was just the biggest difference in that series. I think AD was the main guy, and he was, I don't even want to kill him and say he played bad. Like he's had games in this playoffs where he's up and down, but he, like in the
defensively, he brought it every night.
20 points, 20 rebounds, like 15 points. Like he definitely was getting on the boards and being effective. Shout out to, which I didn't see this coming, but shout out to Dennis Schroeder being like a pest with Steph. Like I didn't think he was going to be the guy. I thought it was going to be Vanderbilt more so, but Dennis Schroeder being annoying, not affecting Steph, but annoying Steph was something. And I mean, of course, he annoyed Draymond, but Draymond, you can mark him down for just getting in somebody's face every single. Like he's just gonna do that, and the refs are just gonna give him lead weight. Like that's just how it goes. But outside of that, I was very surprised that in that game 6 he went with that 3-guard lineup, and I think that was more so of a you could probably say that was Schroeder being a defensive guy on Steph, but I also think that was him having 3 guards on the floor that can go get their own shot and make I think the Warriors guards work, like in terms of playing on defense. Because I think that was what ultimately hurt them outside of AD. Like Steph had the guard and Steph can't guard. So like they always put Steph in pick and roll and made him try to make defensive plays. Like Steph can do it in spurts, but that's not what he can do off like consistently. So I do think that I was thinking that series was going to go 7, but I mean, I just came out that series thinking Lakers just a better team. They just look better.
Klay Thompson, well-rounded.
Klay Thompson was awful though. Klay Thompson, that's one thing I didn't expect. Klay
and Poole was not.
Poole after the first round being that bad, I sort of expected. But Klay Thompson, I thought he was going to show up, and especially against the Lakers, that was his favorite team growing up. Loved Kobe, so I thought Klay Thompson was going to have a good series. But the dude was bricking everything, and he had no conscience. He kept chucking them too. He kept chucking them.
His post game when he was just looking at his box
score
and he was just like,
damn. He's on the box score. I'm like, man, I shot 2 for 12. He shot 2 for 12 from 3. Yep. 3 for 19 from the field. That is so bad. He had a
That's Julius
plus minus of minus 33, man. The worst on the Warriors. Think about that. Minus 33. So
you're not even going to come close to winning.
Yeah, that game, like, it wasn't even a competitive game. The thing with the series was just very lopsided. When the teams won, they won by a lot. When the teams lost, they lost. Yep. Just a very lopsided series. Like, I was expecting a little more close games, but
interesting. Game 4, I thought, not game 4, but I thought game 6 was going to be way closer. I literally thought that was going to be like a 10-point game going into the 4th. But I mean,
Warriors have a lot to consider.
Like, yeah, listen, not. I think this is what is it? What, May 15th? I know the playoffs or the conference finals, but this is a topic that's going to go into like July.
Like, ESPN's got to ride something.
First stage, this is the first stage of it, and it's like kind of like on the second page because there's actual playoffs going on, and then the finals will be coming on. But trust and believe, when that finals is off, this is going to be the main story in that corner outside of football talking or whatever. But that's going to be a main story. So, like, transitioning into that, it's been a conversation. With many of the players on the team, whether it was Klay Thompson, Jordan Poole, many, if you're a Warriors fan, would say the only player that showed up in the series was Steph Curry, and Looney to an extent because he did what he was supposed to do in the rebounding aspect. People were frustrated with Draymond because you see him in game, I think it was 5, and he's attacking and he's going off the pick and rolls and he's scoring and he's shooting 3. You'd be like, oh, where is this? And then in game 6, he's pushing the ball and freaking did a shooter's place and getting in foul trouble. So. I kind of wanted to talk about where do the Warriors build around Steph, because I know it's cool to say Klay and Draymond, but if you watch this series, this is about Steph and what can we do to get stuff around Steph. So I wanted to ask the guys, what are their proposals with that? Peebush, I'll let you start this off.
Oh man, I don't even know where. This is a near decade-long run where they've had the same core guys and 4 championships. They are probably one of the best teams in the league at willing to move and make deals in order to allow their team to continue to mesh. Zoo, how many big guys have they rotated in and out over the years that have ended up having minor but major impacts overall on their series? From Bogut's to Festus Ezeli.
To JaVale McGee.
JaVale McGee had moments. Now Kevon Looney's kind of the guy in that role.
Marcus Cousins for like a hot little second.
They were willing.
That was terrible.
And then you got, the bringing in of D'Lo and then flipping him and getting Wiggins in there, which was an unbelievable addition that really helped them win last year in 2022 finals. So this team is probably the best at adapting on the fly. And I think it's because they know whoever they put around Curry, you still have to put all of your attention on Curry, right? As on the defensive side for all other teams. So the real question is, okay, Curry's getting up in age. We got Klay. Maybe it's the injuries finally getting to him. I know we were just talking about him. You could keep talking about him. I don't know if you could trade him. What do you get for him? What's his situation right now? Who's that interested in him? So I think that they really got to consider bringing in a true second star, probably a small forward type player to complement Wiggins. Jaylen Brown, I know, was the idea thrown out there by Colin Coward.
That trade coming straight from a Warriors fan, man. Are you serious?
Exactly.
Jordan straight from a guy that's trying to get engagement.
Wiggins or
Jaylen
Brown.
That's why I posted it.
And then you got to also consider if the Celtics win the finals this year, that is not even going to come close to even being considered. They're not even going to be fielding any phone call.
Even if they lose and get trounced.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know who they go for.
You know who I think would you just say with Klay? Like if I'm the GM and I'm talking about Klay, like he's on his last year. I don't know if it's a player option or not, but I'm having the conversation of, look, we're going to play this next year out, and you're either going to come back on a team-friendly deal or you're going to have to figure out, in your expiring contract year where you want to go. Because I do think someone might be foolish enough to give him close to max, which I don't think would be smart. You know who I can see doing that and being dumb enough to do that would be somebody like New York. Just to pair him with Brunson. To do it. Which I think would be a mistake because I do think Klay is I think he still has moments to be an elite shooter. I think he just had a bad shooting series, but I still think he can shoot with the best of them. I just think the full, two-way guy, I think that's gone. So if you just have the perception of knowing, like, look, Klay is our shooter and that's all he's going to do, I think you'll be happy with what he's doing. Now, it's going to be up to your franchise if you want to give him a max for that. Personally, I wouldn't, because I don't want to give a max to someone who's just a elite shooter that's up in age.
Not that it was a max, but you don't want to do the same thing that the Heat did with just Duncan Robinson. I know it's $90 million versus a potential max, but you're overpaying a guy that is extremely one-dimensional at this point in his career. And there's no comparison between those two players on a historical basis. But to your value add at this point, that's Klay's best asset, and the only thing they really have is a trade piece from his game that has still lasted this long.
Yeah, Steph might change that, though, because Steph might, just to cut you off, he might. Because he has Poole. I don't know. Steph doesn't do that, but I don't know. Steph may be like, Klay's not going nowhere. Give him his money.
Yeah, I feel like
you never know.
Like the Splash Brothers, I just don't see the Warriors splitting up out of straight loyalty. Which is fair. For what he's done for the franchise. Which might be, yeah. But if Klay Thompson asks for a max, though, I'm like, yo, let's chill a bit. We'll pay you your money, but a max contract, man. We talking about a max contract for you, like, yo, you shot 2 for 12, man. Like, you're lucky you're getting paid at all right now after that performance. But currently, he's making $40+ million, man. So if we could do a deal, like, man, I know Wiggins making like 20 to 30. We'll give you some Wiggins money, man. Wiggins money, and I think that's
actually go a step
fair.
Below that.
Oh, you guys step below that? Oh, I'm trying to
if I can give a Wiggins. Wiggins is at 20, ain't he? 20, he's at 20.
Yeah, he's making around 24 to 30 million based on his annual contracts. But I'll give you Wiggins money as the second, third, fourth option on the team, man. So I think that's fair. You get your, I don't know, you're still getting like $150 million, man, over a couple of years. I think that's a reasonable contract for what you've done, in the past, and still your starter on the team. So, boom, Klay Thompson, take that, man. Don't be greedy. Don't be greedy now, man. You go out, Golden State, man, you go to a bum team, man. People are going to forget about you. People will forget about you, especially if you're not playing with Steph Curry out there, who's still in his prime, making every dollar that he deserves, man. So, Klay Thompson, I think he's going to come back, man. Draymond Green's interesting, man. Dude's making $25 million right now with an option, so he's a free agent right now, and he's probably around $30 million annually. That's what I'm guessing. Draymond Green wants $30 million annually. This guy's still the leader of the team on defense. He's still a great defensive player. Like the numbers this guy gets on defense, like his defensive impact is huge. His passing, his dribble handoffs to Steph Curry is second to none. Them as a duo playing off each other is just straight up chemistry that you can't build with any other player. Like so, Draymond is definitely more valuable for the Warriors if he goes to another roster. Like, he is worth more for the Warriors franchise if he goes to any other team. So they might have to overpay a little bit, but if you want to give Steph a chance, I think you still need Draymond back on the roster, right? So obviously with the new CBA rules, man, there's a lot of limitations when you're over the cap, man. You're paying that luxury tax, man. So the number of moves are going to be limited. First of all, they trade all their second round picks for Gary Payton. So they got no second round picks. First round picks limited, man. So I'm like, Jonathan Kuminga, man, these young guys,
cool.
that's the only way. They could flip some of the young guys to get a veteran guy, or you believe in your player development and hope Kuminga turns out to be something. Because the whole Warriors thing is
Kuminga's gone. He's out of there.
Yeah.
Because he wants to play.
Yeah, Kuminga wants to play. He got upset on the bench. Like, he's like
he should have played. He should have played, though. He should have played. I don't know what Kerr was thinking about. Like, I know they don't trust young guys, but man, like, Kuminga's a 6'8" wing. You don't think you could just have him in there to bother LeBron?
See
like,
if he can do
LeBron's game 6, like he went 30 a night. You don't think he could maybe get in his way and take some fouls? Like, you got Moses Moody. I think is actually
he shot the ball well. He shot the ball well.
But
he did.
Like, and he was a positive on the court. But like, I don't want to go on a rant on it. But like Kuminga not playing really throughout the playoffs and sparingly through the season. Like, what do we do? Why'd you draft him then? What's the point?
That's on Kerr.
Yeah, I don't understand why he just didn't. It's game 6. Just throw somebody out there, bro. Like, see what happens.
Yeah, Kuminga's
definitely gone.
Yeah,
he's gone.
Yeah, Kuminga, that'll be an interesting piece. I feel like people see the potential in a 6'8" wing, and he's super young. He came in the league, like he's 19 years old, so he has a lot of potential. So he's definitely a valuable asset that you could probably get some value back. But the big piece is Jordan Poole, man. Mm-hmm. Jordan Poole is big. His contract situation is so massive. Yeah. Like, next year's making $28 million, and that just escalates every year. 28, 30 to 33 to 35 million.
Highway heist, man.
Yeah, not gonna lie. It was a good year for balling out, winning the championship, and they were rewarding him for helping winning the championship as a sixth man. Even he stepped in as a starter, if you remember that year. Steph Curry was coming off the bench with the injury. So he helped them win a championship. So that's why they did it. So I totally understand from their perspective. And to keep him as a trade asset. I see this situation very similar to the D'Angelo Russell thing when they got D'Lo.
Exactly.
And they're like, we're going to run D'Lo, Steph Curry, Clay. No, that was never going to work. That was to get the asset, and hopefully you find a sucker, a.k.a. the Minnesota Timberwolves, and you flip him and you get Andrew Wiggins, turn that depreciated asset into a massive asset. So I feel like you're going to try to do a similar situation, maybe a Jordan Poole, Kuminga type trade, maybe throw in a first rounder to get a veteran guy to fit right now. Because Steph Curry, man, you got an all-time player, so you're going to try to win now every single season. Like, I know they're trying to do build for the future and try to win now. Like, they were able to pull it off last year based on certain circumstances and a virtuoso performance by Steph Curry, man. But if you want to maximize his win now situation, man, you got to screw the future and be in the present. You have to be in the present with this roster, man. This roster is getting older by the day. Like, Steph Curry, obviously, he's the best player this team has ever seen in his franchise. And I think you owe it to him to get him a full squad, because Steph Curry, he played championship level basketball. It wasn't his fault that his team lost to the Lakers, man. It was his teammates that let him down, a.k.a. Klay Thompson and Jordan Poole and the role players. Like, Kevon Looney balled out. He played his role to a T. Rebounding, like, do a stick out there, like, rebounding like a maniac. So I actually do like Kevon Looney on this roster, but man, oh, man.
Well, so I got a proposition. Poole, what do you think about Julius Randle going to the?
Oh, Jesus Christ! Stop it!
Look. He's making less on a per year basis than Jordan Poole is right now, and I think he could benefit from it.
I'll give up.
I think he could benefit from joining an organization like that. I don't know, because you're looking at like depreciating assets, right? You're talking about that.
For sure. Oh yeah, Julius Randle has depreciated. Not straight line, man. It was that double declining, man.
Yeah,
real bad.
Double declining method. No, you're right, but he still has great potential, and I think the pressure of MSG is a lot. And if you take that off and you go to Curry's team, it could open up his game a little bit.
But his attitude really worries me. His pouting attitude, it's very Jordan Poole-ish. Like, Jordan Poole was like pouting and like, why me? Like he was very testy with the reporters. So I don't like that.
Do you think though with Jordan Poole? For me, how I'm looking at Jordan Poole, I still think he's a great player. I really do think the beginning of the season affected him.
Like, for sure it did. For sure it did.
That bothered him a lot. And I think it also bothered Draymond, because Draymond couldn't really be the rah-rah in his face. Like, I think he tried to talk to Jordan Poole on certain occasions, but I think that beginning of the season screwed him up. And it's almost like you can't even come back from that. Like, you can try to fake it, but I think it's like he needs a change of scenery. I'm not mad at that, though. People, it's like the Poole. Like, I wouldn't give up Kuminga and Poole. Like, I almost think that would be a luxury
Poole
for
a first
the Knicks if they got both of those. But if you got like Poole and pick or whatever for Julius, I wouldn't be mad at that. I do think though they need another explosive score, like veteran scorer, three and D type of player. I don't know if they're just trying to go strictly offense. Who you would go for? Like, if you're trying to get like Poole's a younger scorer, like
Ingram,
who offensively, like. Or like not even a wing, but just another guard. Like, if you're going to get Klay and Poole out of there, say you just want to get rid of both, but you want to bring back another explosive guard to pair with Steph and then have Draymond and whoever. Like, there's so many mix and match possibilities. Like, I don't know which way they would go. If I was a GM, I would definitely look at the situation where, well, Kuminga's gone. I'm already fielding off Kuminga, because that Shams report, I don't know if you guys like saw it. Like, he pretty much was like, Kuminga's reps are like, we're out of here. Like, cool, we got a championship. I don't care about that. Like, in the first 4 to 5 years of my contract, I need to show I can score so I can get my second contract and be, that's just how. And that's
totally understandable. That's totally understandable for a young guy that hasn't made his big money contract yet. Like, Jordan Poole obviously got his, and the rest of the roster got his. So totally understandable, man. But
got to be able to show yourself to earn that.
Too. Like, Moody should have been playing more. Like, I like Moody and Kuminga on the roster.
I'm telling you, man, having all these young guys on the roster with second agendas, that is not all winning. Obviously, all the veterans got their money already, so they can focus on winning a championship. But if you're a young player, you get that bag first, and then it's all about winning a championship.
And then it's about
exactly. So you got to get veteran guys who made all their money and are willing to sacrifice in their role. So that's why veteran teams historically do better in the playoffs.
Which is why it never really made sense, even though they got away with it last year. But it never made sense for them to draft like the Wisemans, all those young guys. Like, you should have just used those picks and just like flip this them. Is like LA would like now. LA had to like at a point draft before LeBron got there. They were drafting young talent because they kind of had to, because nobody was going there. But like Once they got LeBron, this is why I like LeBron and most stars. They're like, I don't care about them picks. Flip the picks, see what we can get so we can just win now. Like Golden State was able to just get away with it last year because they got very fortunate.
They pulled it off. I give them props for
sicko mode.
Yeah, they
did. He went sicko mode, but like, man, it's at that time. Even you know what? What's funny? We talk about Clay. I think last year would have been the perfect year, even though it would have been hard to sell it because they won the championship and Clay was all right. But been like, okay, what could we maybe figure out with Clay? What can we maybe figure out with Kuminga? Start going down and seeing what can we do to improve it because with most championship situations. Yeah, it's cool to stay the same, but with Warriors and all the assets they have on that team, they could have really flipped that roster to where I don't know if they're even in this situation now, sitting out in the second round. Now, they ran into the Lakers, but I'm just saying they could have been a way better team surrounded around Steph if they maybe just would have flipped guys. They know they're just not going to play. Like, they flipped Wiseman, but I mean, what was that?
They got Gary Payton. They got the 5
Gary
second-round picks would turn out it was pretty much a James Wiseman for Gary Payton. It was a nice little role player. They can't shoot.
Which is fine, but it's like you could have went big game hunting if you would have maybe thought about packaging Kuminga and Clay or packaging Kuminga and Poole. Like, I just don't like the method of how they went about it, but they have a lot of options.
In a long time, Sean.
I'm telling you, the Bob Myers draft picks, like a lot of them were missed. If you look at a lot of the draft picks, obviously. You know me, I've been hating on Wiseman for a long time. Yeah. I remember I was like, that dude not even my top 5 draft picks. So
he gonna turn up in Detroit next year. Watch.
Yeah.
Him and Jalen Durant.
Stop it, Jalen Durant, man. Eat that guy's cookies, man. He will be starting, and Wiseman will be off the bench. But if you look at some of the draft picks that he made, like Kuminga, obviously he took over Franz Wagner. That dude is balling out for Orlando. He's a much better shooter, like good passer. So obviously that was a big decision between.
I can't do this with Kuminga though. Kuminga hadn't been. I
don't know, man. Like Franz Wagner
is a beast though.
It's more been immediate impact. Maybe Kuminga has higher upside, but for immediate impact guys, he's been averaging close to 19 points, and I can imagine him on that Warriors. He just looks like a Golden State Warriors type of guy. High IQ shooter, man. Like he just looks like type of dude. And obviously, my thoughts. LaMelo Ball should have been taken by this roster. So a lot of misses on the draft pick side of things, but they won a championship last year, so all is forgiven. Can't get too greedy, man. You can't win it every year, Golden State, man. Yep. So I appreciate the Lakers for sending them home. So I wish Sacramento could get it done, but the LA gets it done against this Warriors team.
Yeah, there's nobody going to be feeling bad for the Warriors. Like they got options. They will be fine.
That's like feeling bad for a billion. That's like feeling bad for a billionaire having to pay taxes. Man, stop it, man. You're a billionaire. Get out of here, man. Stop it. Stop it.
Ain't nobody trying to hear your sob story.
Yeah.
But
little violin.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, man. I will be looking at the, I guess you would say, trade wire and paying attention to the, I guess. I may actually pay for an athletic subscription now. We'll start reading some of those stories and seeing what the Warriors are really trying to do. They're actually pretty cheap, but shout out to the Warriors, shout out to the Lakers, shout out to all the teams that made this semis really interesting. And now we're on to the conference finals. And like I said earlier in the pod, the NBA lottery is tomorrow. Hopefully, the Bulls will somehow use that 1.8%.
1.8, baby. We got a 1.8% chance of giving Wembanyama. And an 8.5% chance of keeping the pick. That's the big one. Like I'm not gonna be too greedy right now, man. I'm not gonna be like the Warriors, man. I just want to keep our pick. I just want to keep our pick from Orlando because if I see Orlando get another guy and he turns out to be a stud, one of like the Thompson twins or something, man, I'm gonna be breaking some stuff, man. Jesus Christ, we cannot lose that pick, man. We cannot lose it. 8.5.
I'm sure you're like this. Hey, whoever you guys get, if you keep the pick, you'll be able to pair it with Dalen Terry. You guys will have a.
I'm making a prediction. I'm making a prediction right now, man. I'm making a prediction, man. Dalen Terry brings some good luck out there, man. He's gonna be dancing when we get a top 4 pick, man. I need Dalen Terry to dance a little out there because that's all I see him do on the Bulls play. Like he didn't ball, man. He was just dancing on the sidelines, man, with DeMar DeRozan. That's all he did.
Oh man, that's funny as hell. But yeah, we'll definitely be looking at the NBA draft lottery tonight, and I'll definitely use something on the social media pages. The Bulls happen to somehow miraculously keep their pick or get up in that top 1 or 2 or 3. So you guys make sure you lock into bullheaded_pod on Instagram that I just mentioned. TikTok, bullheaded864, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts is where you listen to this. Medium, also YouTube at Quantro Knows is where I put most of our videos on. And for me, Zoo, and P-Bush, we are out.